I want to put you in the position whereby you can anticipate upon what's coming into the future. July 2024, around the full moon cycle. At full moon, probably it peaks. Around this time, what's going to happen is called the Great European Social Credit Reset. Prophecy spoken. Explaining the prophecy that you can understand it. You walking around, if you have a European passport, all the European currencies united in one currency, whereby there's a certain structure where the national destinies of Europe can intertwine. There's still a national sovereignty, and things can all be enforced through the centralized organization called the European Union. However, all the services done to the other nations is to befit the nation's destiny. Whereby if one nation, one person trading in another nation has evil intentions upon that nation, the European system allows that one nation to expel the individual or the organization from the nation without breaking treaties. Whereby we're not dealing with a European state, but we're dealing with a European unit where the cooperation goes far. So individual nations have a seat of authority in this voting system that defines the European political destiny. So Germany did this, France did that, Netherlands did this, Poland did that, Spain did this, Italy did that. Throughout the history of Europe, 2,000 years ago, 1,000 years ago, all these cycles, and there is a generational karmic account. There's a certain balance. Since the Roman Empire time, there's a certain balance. Let's call that balance the bank account. So this kind has the bank account, the German kind, the Dutch kind, the Spanish kind, the Italian kind. They have let's call it a bank account, and it is filled with the currency, and that's their generational blessing. And within every nation, you as individual in these nations, you have a percentage of that bank account of your nation, because your family did this and this and this and that, whereby you as the individual, let's call it like this. Imagine that European Union destiny is a euro bill. And the euro bill is divided through the European nations to their destinical value. And then the single individual then takes a partition of that already divided euro bill, and that's called the European time grid. I'm going a little bit overboard with the intellectual power, but better that I make it too complex than too easy. Let's say it's better for me to do it like this than actually providing you less information. Right? So look at this. So what is going to happen in July 2024, around full moon, is that this bank account is simply going to run dry. Okay? So you have to interpret this prophecy properly. That does not mean that you will end. The end came for you. No, that is not this type of prophecy. This type of prophecy means you're living a certain lifestyle, and the lifestyle that you're going to live in July 2024 is your lifestyle. Okay? That's you. That's what I'm saying. So the life that you're living now and the life that you were living last year was also you, plus the blessings from the generational line. So in July, you will be you, without any privileges, without any generational blessing. It will all be stripped from you. So what Germany did 50 years ago and what France did 50 years ago, that's no longer there. That's all going to disappear. It is like the great reset of the European social credit system. So now, ladies and gentlemen, giving you the political intelligence, the political elite says this is good, this is bad. There's a certain push, a certain promotion of certain things, and a certain, no, let's get rid of this. a certain approval and disapproval system. That system is going to go and be re-established with a new one. So you might, what you think and what you say might now be completely ostracizable in this system. On July 2024, that might be the new norm. The old norm will go. And all of a sudden, the old norm is abnormal because there is no more generational blessing to enforce that norm. So you might be right today in whatever you're doing, but you will not be right in July 2024 anymore. Because most of what you're doing, what most people don't know, is that what they're doing is actually enforced because of their generational blessings. They're going into a delusion, and they can live that delusion because they can afford that, because of the generational line. They don't have to be a reality. July 2024, everyone will be forced into reality. It's going to be the great social credit reset of Europe. So when we have this reset, so now I'm going to go back to the prophetic. When we have this quote-unquote great social credit reset, those who were delusional lost their inheritance, and everyone lost their inheritance. Spiritual, I'm not talking about financial, I'm just talking about the destinical timeline of Europe. Then imagine that there are people who lived differently than the norm. They might still have a little bit of a bank account left. That's the thing. When the social credit resets here in Europe, what's going to stay behind is those who have not burned their generational blessings. Or let's say you got born with something and you multiplied it. So whatever you multiplied is this generation. So whatever is left of this generation, not everyone managed the generational blessing that he or she had in the same way. So some people are going to be with still having some spiritual energy left after this removal of the generational blessing, the generational account. Some people are going to have a plus in the positive account. But can you create the European Union as it is right now with that energy? That is the hypothetical. This is the philosophical hypothetical future calculation. Okay, so imagine 90% of energy will leave, and the group of people in Europe who were abnormal still have a bunch of energy left and are not going to be karmically depleted. Those people are going to then rise. That's what everyone is afraid for, the opposition rising, Will they have enough spiritual power to create a continuation of the state? Will the individual nations of Europe, with whatever's left after that, still have the power to create order in the first place, to create an orderly society? That's all the big giant question mark. You will see what happens on that date, on that time frame. So it's like a book that's ending. Generational chapter closed. Today's chapter opening. July 2024, it will begin.